And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Hey folks, today we're taking a look at Outlander, the series Destiny Dice. Now this is a game from Toy Vault, which is based on Outlander, the series, the TV series. I know the premise of the series, and there's a bit of time travel involved, and yet it was not something that interested me even a little bit. I've read a synopsis of the show, still not interested. My apologies to those of you who really like the show. But really, when it comes down to a game like this, the game needs to stand on its own 2 feet, right? Who cares if you like the show or not? I want to know, is this a good game? Well, this is a game that's very similar to a popular game many people know. That's Yahtzee, where you're going to roll dice, re-roll some more dice, and roll them again and see what kind of score you get. Here's a quick synopsis of how the game plays. Now on this board, we have 2 scoring tracks. One is victory points. That's how you're going to determine who wins the game. First person to 40 wins. Then we have a score that you're going to score each round of the game. This scoring track is going to, each player is going to keep track of their score. So each round you're going to flip over a card. All right, this shows the marriage, blah, blah, blah. But the only thing that matters is the victory points that are on here. Whoever gets the highest score this round is going to get 9 points. Second highest score will get 6 points. Third highest score will get 2 points. So each player is going to go in turn order, and they're going to roll these 6 dice. The dice are different colors and show various characters from the set. So you're going to roll these dice. Now, what are you trying to roll? Well, the 2 main characters, Jamie and Claire, you're going to want to try to roll these characters, because if you look at this card, if you get all 6 Claires, you'll get 16 points. Even 5 Claires will get you 16 points. Jamie's will also get you a whole pile of points, the more that you have. And each set of Jamie and Claire, if you have 1 set, that's 1. But if you have 3 sets, you're going to get 7 extra points. So let's say I had 3 sets. I would have 3 Claires, which is 7 points, 3 Jamies, which is worth 3 points, and then 7 more points for a total of 17 points. And that's not 17 victory points. That just means my score would be 17. But hey, there is also other things that can happen when you roll these dice. We have Gayless here. She's not so nice because she's worth negative points, unless all 6 dice are Gayless, in which case suddenly they're worth 17 points. Hooray! Then we have Leary here. Now Leary is kind of annoying because when you roll the dice, you can choose and re-roll and then choose and re-roll some more dice. But both Leary and Blackjack, these are 2 villainous folk, they cannot be re-rolled, and she cancels out 2 Jamies, and he cancels out 2 Claires. However, we have Dougal here, who I just threw on the ground. Dougal, when you roll him, you can re-roll his die for free, plus another die, so it's a good way to get rid of the Blackjack. There's also a Murtock character who can change all the Leary character, can change all the Gayless characters into Jamie and cancels Leary characters. And then there is Jenny here. She's a nice lass. She basically acts as a wild, which could mean you can use her as a reroll die, or she can count as a Jamie or what have you. So you're going to be re-rolling these dice, but you also have a chance to play cards. Players will start the game with 2 cards, and at the end of every turn, they'll draw another card. So here I could, for example, add 2 Jamies and a Blackjack when I score. Or here I can disregard my roll and just put my scoring token behind first place. That only works if I go last. Here I can re-roll 3 dice that show different faces. Here I can take the top card of the discard pile in my hand. And here I can re-roll all the Claires and Blackjacks up to 2 times each. So you're going to have to decide what to do. So once that's done, we look at the card, we see who's first, second, third on the track, we move them accordingly, and then we turn over another scoring card, and we keep going. And once one player gets to 40, the game's over, and they win. Okay, so let's talk about the quality of the game. We have these cards here, which are going to show various scenes from the show. They're nice, clear pictures, but I don't have any idea what they mean. But, you know, hey, there's the Dance of the Druids and Searching for Jamie. I guess he got lost. Wedding Night. Blackjack's Ambush. I'm getting the idea that blackjack's a bad guy. I looked it up online. So, okay, so those are cool. The dice themselves are okay. They're big, chunky dice with the picture that's not really taking the whole part of the die. And they're different colors, so they're kind of easy to see, I suppose. But I'll tell you, it's a good thing you have these cards here that show you what everything does. They even show you the special abilities of each one, because you will constantly be like, wait, what does this do? How do I do this? What points do I get? It's not so simple as just rolling Yahtzee, for example, and looking at the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And it's interesting, right? The Leary character, if you get 6 of, not Leary, I keep messing him up, the Galus character, if you get 6 of them, you get 17 points. But getting that's really difficult. You might be able to use cards from your hand. You might just get lucky with your rolls. And if so, hooray. And it has that typical Yahtzee thing. It's like, hey, re-roll. Oh, you rolled a blackjack. Guess what? You can't re-roll that unless you get one of those, the Dougal characters who lets you re-roll it, blah, 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 blah. Here's the deal. All these characters back and forth, maybe that means something to people watching the show, but it means nothing to me, right? So I'm just sitting there going, okay, I can do this, I can do this, I can do this. All right, I scored this many points. Oh, that's great. The problem is this game's really random. Now, yes, that's to be expected with a dice game, but here's my problem. Okay, so I get a really lucky roll when this card's up, and I get the highest score. That gives me 11 points. I'm feeling pretty good. You get a lucky roll the next time. You now score 15 points. We're both sitting there pretty happy. And then someone else gets the next card, and their lucky roll gives them 9. Wait a minute. This doesn't really make as much sense anymore. It's not like you can say, wow, this card's really high. This is where I'm going to do something amazing. You might not be able to do something amazing on this turn. Yes, I'll grant that there's some strategy of when to play these cards. You don't just blindly play them, but it's usually pretty confident here. Draw 2 cards and discard a card from your hand. All right, boring. Could gain a victory point, but add 5 to someone else's score. Okay, but gaining a victory point when a card gives you 15 is not really that big of a deal. Yeah, it might be enough to get you to 40, but every game I played of this, one player has blown it out because they just got better with the dice. No one sat there and said, good job, you really played well. No, they're like, oh, wow, that was a lucky roll. You rolled 5 Jamies on your first roll, and now you're going to roll the other one hoping to get the 6th one. And this happened to be the time when there was a 15-point card up there. Or sometimes you play your cards and do all this work, and then you're like, all right, I got first place, 11 points, and second place got 7. All right, so I just basically got 4 more points. And when you're far behind, because first, second, and third get points, you can be 20 points behind, and you're like, you know what? It doesn't really matter what I do on these last couple cards because someone else is going to win if they get second or third. They just have to get a better score than one other person. I don't know. Between always having to look up what the dice meant and not knowing what the show was, this game just didn't really gel for me. There's a lot of these Yahtzee-style games out there where you roll dice and see what happens. And I think maybe folks who like this show will like this one, but this one just felt a little stilted to me. You roll the dice, you're like, oh, okay, I guess I could re-roll some because there's so many times it's not even worth it. So let's say, for example, you roll the blackjack and then you roll 2 Jamies and 2 Claires. Should you re-roll them or should you just take the few points they give you? I guess I'll re-roll the Jamies. Oh, now look, they turned into a bad character. So you took a chance. Otherwise, you were going to get a few points. Now you're going to get no points. I don't know. I found the whole thing, there was no tension in it. You roll the die and everyone's like, oh, that's a good roll. Oh, that's a bad roll. And it was never that thrilling. And when you roll a dice, it's like, when you're playing Yahtzee, you're like, all right, come on. This time I'm going to get the small straight. 1, 2, 3. All right, this one needs to be the 4. It just flows. There's a lack of flow in this game. So not for me anyway. Outlander, the dice game. Dice Tower Judgment, maybe if you like the TV series, but not for me.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.
Shut the door.